Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of CookieCast. Today on CookieCast, it's the Formula One podcast, straight to the apex. Everyone's here. That's right. Mark, Tony, James, and all the race news, previews, reviews, and everything in between. They've got you covered for the Formula One. You can keep them covered by clicking that like button. Maybe a little subscribe, maybe. Share the podcast around. If you've got a Formula One fan in your life, share this podcast with them. Leave us a review. Let these guys know what you think about their podcast. Anyway, enough of that. Let's get into it. So here we go. This is CookieCast, straight to the apex.
This meeting is being recorded.
Hello. So here we are, episode 3 of season 2, straight to the apex. This week it's me in the driving seat, the host, James Stainforth. There in the pit box, I've got the ever-trusting Mark.
Hello.
And probably just as reliable as Nicholas Latifi finishing a race, we've got Tony T-Dog. Yes, I'm 18 minutes late. Rawson.
Peace.
How are you doing, lads?
I'm okay. How are you?
I'm good. Have you just put the sunglasses on there just to like hide the bruises from Beth?
No. I've put them on because
You will be tomorrow.
this week I'm loving it. Literally in awe, in absolute bliss, in heaven. In 7 heaven.
We can mute you, you know that, right?
We can also kick him out the room.
Oh, I'll do that.
For everyone who was listening, up until about 10 minutes ago, me and Mark was no longer in the Straight to the Apex WhatsApp group. We got fed up of listening to Tony going on and on and on about Alonso and anything that's got 7 in, including Liverpool, wonders of the world, continents in the world, and all this other bamf that we thought, you know what, sod it, let's leave the group and see if he notices. And did he notice? No.
Nope. Not at all.
You left.
Only reason we got back in is because we sent him a message saying, yeah, you might want to add us back into this group because we ain't on it no more. And does he look upset about it? No.
My evil plan to make him worried, like, oh God, I've gone too far. It backfired miserably because did he give a fuck? No.
Well, he's probably been in the gym since like Sunday.
Well, yeah, apparently, yeah. I mean, I don't know what he does there. You'd think he'd have arms the size of Dwayne The Rock Johnson by now. The amount of time he's
battering little lad from what I heard just then.
Yeah. Them fucking little boys in fucking gym that just take up the equipment.
He was probably telling everybody he's got 7 points on the predictions this week. Spoiler alert. I really hope that that's the last 7 points he gets for a long time. If God is real and Karma's a bitch, he will not get another point, and we'll just see him sink in that little seat of his over the next couple of races.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, you're right. He's been in the gym today, talking to these little lads. God, this sounds just wrong. He wasn't offering them any sweets or anything else like that, folks, so don't worry. Going, oh, yeah, you know, I got 7 points this week on the predictions from Straight to the Apex. Correction, Beth got 7 points probably on the predictions from Beth, Straight to the Apex. My lovely team, Liverpool, got 7 points, 7 goals. And I beat Mark in Leeds once.
I'm gonna stop you there, James. You've made one fatal mistake in that, in the sense that, you know, when he said, I got 7 points on my podcast, he'll have gone, oh, you're on a podcast? Yeah, I don't know what it's called though. He'll probably give one of the others he listens to instead of ours.
Yeah, it's like, oh, what's it called? Oh, yeah, it's called F1 Nation. But we love you really, Tony. You know that, right?
It's all right. I love it. I love having haters that talk about me. And it's ace.
Yep.
Means
and there's 2 of us on this
right.
podcast.
I'm doing all right. I got a lot right. Listening back to that other podcast.
Yes, all right. You got a lot right. So much so that my wife even asked me to apologise to you on this podcast for the comments she said about you and what you said about Aston Martin and what she called you at the meal for your comments
you.
about Aston Martin.
Thank you.
I'm not going to apologise. You're still a dick.
Oh,
Yep.
But nah, we love you, mate. We love you.
thank
Don't
you.
change. Just get here on time from now on. That'll be great.
Okay, I'm
But
sorry.
no, it's all right. Don't worry about it. For now. As always, massive thanks to Andy and the rest of the crew at Cookie Cast. Give us all a like, subscribe, listen to us on podcasts and YouTube and any other thing you can find us on. If we're there, give us a listen. If we're not there, keep looking for us and then start giving us a listen. Lads, I'm going to bring in a new thing for this season, I think. And it's still going to be called Horner's Corner, but not in the same way as we did last season. I think what we're going to do is we're going to have a Horner's Corner, but it's where we can just moan about absolutely anything F1 related.
Okay. Yeah.
Nice. I like it.
I guess you've got a topic in mind.
Oh, yeah, Nico Rosberg.
Oh,
Yes.
Why? Just why? I don't know. I'm sorry. Just his appearance annoys me now.
I love this suit.
Really?
Was it the white one?
Yeah. It looked like some extra out of Miami Vice or something.
I
Yeah.
thought he was locked up in his hotel room or his house because he hadn't been vaccinated and he wasn't allowed to join in at races. Can he just go back to doing that, please?
I know. Yeah, that was good times. That wasn't it?
What did he contribute, barring being very bitter against Toto Wolff and Lewis?
He likes to tell everyone how green he is.
Flying to Bahrain. Yeah, it's really green.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
All this, I only eat avocados, even though you have to get brought over to me from Brazil and all those kind of areas. Yeah, not much of a carbon footprint, but yeah, I don't know. His sheer existence just really winds me up, and I don't understand why. Well, I do, but
he's a previous world champion, and this was always going to happen as soon as he got that. I knew this would happen.
He can go crawl back under his rock that he came from before he become a world champion.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah, I totally agree. I'm so glad you brought it up because I totally agree. I think he brings nothing to that commentary team. And honestly, they've been Johnny Herbert off for him. Come on.
I know.
All right.
Sad times. But the rest of the country was good.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. It's just him.
Brundle's amazing. Them laps.
Love Brundle.
When he talks about the laps, the flying laps in qualifying, where he's describing it from apex to straight to apex to corner to acceleration. Whoa, it's an art. It's an art.
Tires, prestige.
Yeah. Watch out for that, guys. Comment, like, and subscribe, and make sure you comment when you hear purchase of the tires. Make sure you do that.
You'll never hear it because he'll either be asleep or not actually there when the race is on.
If you're listening to this now and you hear him say purchase of the tires, get in touch because we're going to have one hell of a celebration.
Because then Tony can pretend he watched the actual race when someone else lets him know that Mark.
No, it's again, Mark. I can go, I was right. He does say it.
Can't wait for this week to be over because him being right is just, I can't bear it. Cannot bear. His head is massive at the minute. I hate it.
Well, I mean,
it was really annoying on Sunday.
We can go through things that you said last week, and then you were wrong. If you want.
Well, hey,
have you listened to last week's podcast and made notes of something?
Who's the host? James does what he wants. It's not you driving this week, so let him.
Yeah. My time, bitch.
Yeah.
Go on, James.
So now, what do you want to do? Do you want to start with the news?
Can do.
Yeah, can do if you've got any. Yeah.
I've got there isn't really much to go through news-wise, but Stroll's come out on Twitter, hasn't he? And he's actually put a little bit more information about his injuries.
All right.
So after he finally got taught how to ride a push bike, and his dad let go of the back of the seat and just let Stroll just ride off until he turned around going, "Daddy, they're doing it," and fell off. So he's actually come out now and said, yeah. So he had a fracture and displacement in his right wrist, a fracture in his left wrist, a partial fracture in his left hand, and a fracture in the big toe of his right foot.
Wow. That's seriously coming off your bike.
Yeah, kid did some damage.
Again, in the crazy week we've had this week, it's a first for the podcast. Hats off go to Lance Stroll this week. Because how he drove that car, he was in pain in quali or practice, I think I saw, and he was like, they said, "Oh, can you hit this corner and compromise that one?" He was like, "I can't because of my hands." And they were like, "Right, okay, no problem." And the fact that he did all them laps and got to the end in a very strong position, well, fair play.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I watched practice. I think it was practice 2 I watched, and that was when on the radio they said, right, you've got to compromise turn 1 to get a better line on turn 2, and that's when he said, "I can't because of my hand, because of my wrist." And even when you watched him on the wheel, instead of like turning like they would normally, he was having to like let go of the wheel with the left hand and then catch it on the bottom.
Yeah,
I was sitting there watching, thinking they can't let him drive.
Yeah,
they can't.
But he's had to pass all the safety stuff, hasn't he? Like, extracting himself from the car in however many seconds. And I saw the interview with Lawrence Stroll after the race, and he said, like, Lance kept saying, "I'll be in the car." And I just looked at him in pots with his wrist and thought, he's not going to be. And he did.
No.
So fair play to the kid, because I bet he was in a lot of pain.
And you know what? We give him a lot of grief. Like, 30 seconds ago when I said, he finally got taught how to ride a bike by Daddy. And he got a lot of stick last year as well. But you know what, mate? Doing it with all those kind of injuries and finishing in P6 and to actually have a guy like Fernando Alonso say to you, "You're my fucking hero." Yeah, kudos. Well played, buddy.
Yeah,
well played. Another thing, if I said target 37-0, do you know what that is?
Target 37-0?
No.
So I saw this morning as well, and it's just come out. That was a setting on the Red Bull cars that Max and I believe Checo was asked to put on because the cars are too fast. So they was actually asked during this race at Bahrain to slow down.
All right.
So they believe without putting that setting on, there would be another second per lap faster.
No.
What? So is this setting 10 engine down? As it?
Oh.
I believe so. It's something anyway, but yeah, on the radio, I'll send you it after this because I think I saw it on TikTok this morning. It's just Max's radio engineer, and he goes, right, it's target 37-0, and you hear Max just going, "I'm happy to slow down, but are you going to get Checo to slow down?" kind of thing. So then his radio engineer goes, "There's no race now, Max. Target 37-0. Guy already had like a 38-second lead. He's like, "Yeah, slow," and he's going, and he doesn't do it. And then you hear the radio engineer going, "So you're looking for the +7 setting?" And he went, "I'm actually getting bored watching this now. Can we slow down?"
Wow.
So his engineers said, "I'm getting bored. Can you slow the car down a bit, please?"
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, they were so quick. You could talk about. I think they mentioned it on the commentary, like all the changing of the tires and whatnot. I don't think it, and I agree with the commentary. It didn't matter when they changed the tyres because they were that quick. They could kind of just do what they wanted.
We said this, didn't we? We said this in last week. The fact that Max gave a day for testing that Red Bull was either really good or he was fed up, and it's really good. And I mean, they're not using the tyres as much as the Ferrari. They've got a better car than everybody else. And like I say, all Adrian Newey has done is make a really good car, really good, even better.
Yeah.
And this car is still before all the penalties for the wind tunnel and stuff. And Christian said, didn't he? I don't really think the penalty is going to affect us because all we'll do is we'll be careful what we put in the wind tunnel and what we don't. But they don't need to. They don't need to rush stuff through. They've got such a good car. If someone should we put that in the wind tunnel? We don't know if it'll work. Don't bother them. They've got so much time in their pocket.
It's ridiculous. I mean, the fact that both drivers had that much of a lead, they both had a free pit stop. I mean, I think Max was 12 seconds ahead of Checo. What was it? Because Perez had something like a 24-second lead from third. So he could, if they got a nice quick pit stop in there, he could come out and stay in the same position. And Max was 12 seconds ahead of him.
Wow.
Scary. Very.
I wonder what will stop them.
A wall.
Yes. Or George Russell and his shitty antics.
Oh, really?
Well, what did he do?
This early into the season, you already wanted to slag him off?
No, he's waiting for his time in that first corner. I'm waiting. We're all waiting. We're all waiting for that oversteer, baby. And don't worry, George. When you do it, there will be fucking hell to pay, mate. Because I will go in on you. Because I'm waiting.
In on you or in you?
In on you. Not the second. Definitely not the second.
Why? We all hate Red Bull. What are you defending them for?
Yeah.
They've got the quickest car, so I think from the start they'll win. I think they'll win a lot. But poor driving by George Russell by crashing into people, that pisses me off. So if he does it, I'll.
Hang on. What about George Russell though? He doesn't really do that. If we'd have said Schumacher or Latifi or someone, yeah, I'd agree. But Russell, nah.
All right, he hit Bottas a few seasons ago, but he's not really done a lot.
Yeah, and then he got out of the car and actually hit Bottas.
Did you? Yeah.
So, yeah,
there was a moment in this race again where
he hit
got to be wary of
twice.
Wary of George, because again, George and Bottas, they were together, and you're like, oh God, George might pull something here. I'm wary of George. I don't know if anybody else is. If you are, comment. But just when he starts racing, I feel like he gets a bit edgy.
Fucking hell, mate. The first comments we're actually going to get, and we're going to be really excited because we're suddenly getting comments. And it's either going to be about prestigious tyres, purchase of tyres, prestigious track, or, yeah, Tony, I absolutely agree. George Russell's a twat. We all hate Woody.
I mean, I didn't say he was a twat. He likes to crash into. In my opinion, he oversteers and hits people quite often, and quite often they're my picks.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Well, at least he's only upsetting like an individual and not an entire nation so far. So that's pretty decent.
Time's a healer with Mexico. I'll be honest.
Podcast is still early. There's still plenty of time.
Oh yeah. There's still about 23 races or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So yeah. Any more news from anyone else?
No. Only the bit from Toto after the race, and him saying, right, we need a plan B. Like, in a budget cap era, can they really afford a plan B car?
Yes. They've factored it in already. and it's taken one race to give it up and go to plan B. So, because they're that scared and they're that far behind. So,
Well, you see,
yes.
this is the thing. So Hamilton, straight after the race, one of the comments Hamilton made was, "Yeah, so we're now the fourth fastest car on the track." And you, Tony, keep going on about Aston Martin, but what engine has Aston Martin got?
Mercedes, baby. This is what I mean. This is why I like Aston Martin. Designed by Red Bull, powered by Mercedes, legend in the seat, billionaire buyer. Here we go. This
Christ,
is
I asked a question expecting the answer to just be engine, but here we go.
This is the team. This is the team, guys. Hey, McLaren guys, all you McLaren boys out there, yeah, all that Christmas gear you got that was orange because Lando's a cool dude, bin it, wipe your ass with it, go out and buy an Aston Martin cap. Go out and buy an Aston, because McLaren ain't cool no more, all right? Bin your McLaren stuff.
Right, watch this. Aston Martin will turn to shit for the rest of the season.
No, they will not.
And in 6 weeks' time, Tony will be apologising on this podcast to everyone who's just gone out and bought an Aston Martin cap and going, "Yeah, I'm really sorry about that. I was wrong."
Do you really seriously think they will sustain somewhat of a title challenge? Forget how good the Red Bull is. They've got. Unless they get stuck on reliability, they've got. Do you really think Aston Martin are going to be mixing it for the year with Ferrari, possibly Merc? Do you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Really?
Because they've got the design is like the Red Bull. The Red Bull, we've said it already, are miles ahead, just miles ahead with the design of the car. They've tried to copy it before and they got penalised. Now they've gone full hog. They've gone and got somebody. They're pulling ahead. Look at this weekend. This weekend, I don't understand how it was such a surprise for people. The Mercedes, Lance Stroll with basically 1.5 hands was beating the Mercedes.
It's one race. Right. I'm gonna argue your case here. So a couple of seasons ago, when Merc had the most dominant car, Aston Martin copied them. You remember there was all that trouble? Aston Martin literally it was called the pink Mercedes, wasn't it? When it was Force India.
Yes.
What happened again? It was quick for 1, 2, 3 races, and then the big teams, outdeveloped them. They get left behind. Don't get me wrong; they've now got Lawrence Stroll's money. I can't see him getting outdeveloped as much, but they will get outdeveloped by Ferrari, Red Bull, Merc. The other reason I don't think they'll do well, but they won't sustain it this year is they've got a brand new factory coming online in May. I think that'll be so much of a distraction because, again, all these updates and everything, they're moving into a brand spanking new factory. They've got to get it all correlated. They've got to get it all working. They will fail probably halfway through the season. The development of their car won't be as big as the other settled teams. I'm telling you now.
I can understand what you're saying, and I think if I can see it now in the headlines at the end of the season, like they had a bright start, but then faded towards the end.
I want them to be up there. I really do, because how much ever shit I give, Formula One would be great if another smaller team joins the party and upsets Red Bull, upsets Ferrari, upsets Mercedes.
Yeah.
And Alonso, however much you want to paint him as the villain, he's a bloody good driver. He deserves more titles than he's got.
He really is. You put him in any car and he's going to bloody outperform the thing. He'll find a limit on it and then he'll push past that. The guy is a legend.
And that's the third point. They've got Fernando Alonso that can outperform that car and make it look better than it is. So it won't be all season. It'll just be hand-picked races where he's on it.
I still think they'll do well. I think.
Yeah.
We've got to watch. We've got to watch for the rest of the season. But going back to what you're saying about other teams will outdevelop them and stuff like that, which you're probably right. That's where Mercedes are probably going to pip them, because what Mercedes have now said is, well, they've got half our car, they've got our engine, so they know now nothing wrong with the engine. It's the car itself. So now they know what they need to work on. And instead of doing what they did last year, where it's like, oh, we'll wait until we've got past Silverstone, so we're halfway through the season, and then we'll see what we can do. They're actually on with it now. I mean, the fact that they brought in a new rear wing for this race, based on how they did in practice, and this rear wing was one that they was going to have for about 3 or 4 races time, they've just brought it forward. It says that they are actually looking to, and well, they've got to, aren't they? They can't do what they did last year.
No, but they've not got the fundamental problems they had last year. No. To be honest, they turned up last year and thought that their car would be a second and a half quicker than it was, but because of the bouncing, it absolutely threw them, and they spent the first 6-7 races getting rid of that, didn't they? And then they could work on the car. I 100% agree with you. This year, there's no bouncing. They've got a base to work on, but it's not good enough. Like, the zero side pods obviously doesn't work.
Nope.
But Ferrari was bouncing quite a lot, and I think Sainz said, "Why am I bouncing?" So they've got it back, even though the cars are higher. But when you look at the Red Bull car, it is so different to the Ferrari and to the Merc, and the Ferrari and the Red Bull work better, don't they? With the way they've got this, like you say, you've just said Aston Martin has copied the Red Bull designer. That car works with a Mercedes engine.
And that's why I think Mercedes after the first race, have just gone, yeah, let's move on. Let's move now. Because if we don't move now, then we're just going to fall back. And Toto was really damning. He said it was like one of the worst races ever. Like, what?
But I don't know if he's playing. I don't know if he's playing up to the cameras.
He's under pressure.
Yeah, I would have said that was the worst. I think, considering the issues that they had in practice and stuff like that, to make those changes and be in that kind of position in the end, it's not the worst.
No, they've been far worse.
I mean, Christ, at one point, Hamilton was looking at P4. Once Alonso flew past bloody Sainz, and Hamilton was right on his ass for a good 4 or 5 laps in 0.5 of a second. He just never made it.
You just didn't have that extra, and this is
just need that a little bit more.
There's mixed signals coming from Mac, because at one point Toto said, didn't he, it's the worst weekend they've ever had. Then he said the upgrade that was coming in, was it 3 races that had given 3 or 4 temps, isn't good enough. But then when you look at the times, the 6 temps behind Red Bull, and then Lewis is saying, well, actually, all we need is some more downforce. So what is it? Because if you get an upgrade that gives you 3 tenths, you're a step closer. So then surely you can do another upgrade. I don't
get it. Don't understand. I don't think they do.
Bit mixed.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Anyway,
I read somewhere this week, just to finish off, that Lewis is thinking of links with Ferrari. Could you see him at Ferrari?
To replace who?
No. Okay.
Maybe in a couple of years. But
contract, and he hasn't signed yet.
Who would he replace, Leclerc or Sainz? Because I think they're pretty happy with both of them.
I could see him swapping with Leclerc. That'd be a nice little tasty swap.
I can see it in a couple of years. When Hamilton's suddenly sitting there thinking, right, you know what, it's time for me to hang up my boots soon. I could see him going to Ferrari then. because you know what? They're a prestigious team. They are one of the OGs. It's one of the teams that every driver aspires to be at. Yeah, why not finish there? If you've done all that you can with Mercedes, if you've got your 8th championship and you've got them another constructors or anything else like that, and you're thinking, yeah, you know what, I want to try something else, then yeah, I'd probably go to Ferrari then. And
I think he's missed the boat. I think he's missed when Vettel left Ferrari, I think that was his opportunity, and he wanted to stick with Merck because they were winning. I think he'd be too old now. I think Ferrari won't want him because he's at an age where, you said, he's not past it, but he's getting to that stage.
I don't think it'd bring anything new in, but it'd be good to have him there with, a rookie driver or one that's only been there, he's only a couple of seasons into racing, just so he can learn a few things. Well, not a few things, learn a hell of a lot from the guy.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so qualifying, guys. You watch it? Did you nap through it, Tony? You sleep?
Loved it. Watched it all.
Yeah.
Wow.
Loved it. Interested to see how Aston Martin get on. Interested to see how quick the Red Bull actually was. Could Ferrari hang in there? We saw it time and time again last season that Ferrari were really good in qualifying, but Mark said this. It doesn't matter. You can be really quick once round the track. It all depends on the race. And if you're crap in the race, if you can't finish the race, then it means nothing.
Well, that was the issue with Haas, wasn't it? They've got a really good 1-lap pace, but when it comes to an actual race pace, they didn't have it.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't have it. But yeah, any points or anything you want to bring up from the quali?
Interesting to see that Ferrari actually used a bit of common sense and thought, we can't get Red Bull. Let's save some soft tyres for the race, because let's be honest, Leclerc jumped Perez, so that wet. The strategy is maybe starting to work at Ferrari. But then we had a red flag because Leclerc's car fell apart when he locked up. So, as always.
I know, that was just so straight away, first lap. His car, what do you call it? Wheel guards or something, the wheel arrow broke in half.
Yeah, it's the front wheel brow, they're calling it.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And reliability, Ferrari. It's like
fast but brittle.
It's like I knew I just felt the bullshit throughout the preseason. Look, we're really reliable. Look at our car. Look at what we can do. We are reliable. And it's like, is it though? Is it really? Bang, brakes. And then I love the cameras. The cameras on F1 and Sky Sports get really into it. And I love watching a Ferrari engineer looking really sheepish with some duct tape, trying to stick it back together. It's fucking amazing. I love it. While there's another one.
I quite enjoyed the on-board cams you can get with Sky now.
Yeah.
They're quite fun to watch.
Yeah, it's ace. And the pit walk, but we'll get to that in a minute.
But no, I think apart from Gasly having his time deleted, I don't think there was really anything surprising at qualifying, was there?
Not really.
Lando and Sargent got exactly the same time, but Lando progressed because he did it first. Yeah. I thought that was a bit... I would have liked to see a shootout there.
Them the rules. I mean, I know you hate McLaren and Lando.
Them's the rules.
Yep, them's the rules.
Them's the rules.
But yeah, other than that for quali, fairly standard kind of thing. Nothing really else happened in there that was exciting. So after that, the top 10 was Verstappen on pole, Perez in second, Leclerc third, followed by Sainz, Alonso in fifth. I nearly called him the absolute GOAT, but let's just see if let's face it, is a GOAT. Russell 6th, Hamilton 7th, Stroll in 8th, Ocon in 9th, and I believe Hülkenberg in 10th.
He did well.
Yeah.
Where was Magnussen was knocked out in Q1, so Hulk kind of surprised a lot of people in that Haas, didn't he? Getting into the top 10.
Yeah. And, it'll be an interesting one. But so yeah, I think on that note, guys, take a break. We'll come back and we'll hit the race.
Yep, sounds good.
All right. See you shortly.
Bye-bye.
Hey, you. Yeah, you that's listening right now. Thanks very much for tuning into this episode of Straight to the Apex, the Formula One podcast from CookieCast. If you're enjoying this episode, why not like, share and subscribe? Whilst you're there, feel free to check out some of the other podcasts that CookieCast has to offer. If you like football, we've got a football podcast. NFL more your thing? Then the Laces Out podcast is for you. Maybe even a little bit of the wrestling. Just look for the Getting Over podcast on CookieCast. Maybe you want to listen to Andy's Darkest Timeline. It's there too. So, the F1 boys have probably got themselves a drink. It's time to get back to the action.
This meeting is being recorded.
And we are back for part 2, season 2, episode 3. Straight to the Apex. T-Dog Rawson is put on his breakfast at Tiffany's sunglasses and toting on a wafer roll stuffed with chocolate, pretending it's a cigar because that is probably about as cool as he's ever going to be. And yes, folks, if you're watching this, he has just put that straight down the back of his throat with zero gag reflex.
Tells you all you need to know about him.
All right.
No tears. Very impressed. Very impressed.
Oh, God, this is took a turn.
Yeah, it did. So, let's summarise the race. So, watch this. Right. Max Verstappen, winner. Straight from the blocks. The car is absolutely phenomenal. And looking at it, no one's going to bloody touch it. And, yeah, if he does it right, he could be winning the championship very, very early this season. Perez with a comfortable P2 and again great pace. And bearing in mind, those two were both told, slow down a little bit. I'm getting really bored here. I mean, if they keep driving as fast as they do, they're not going to have any sponsorship by the end of the season because you don't see them on the TV. What's the point? Main story though, it's got to be Aston Martin, Alonso P3, Stroll coming in comfortable P6, and that's with broken wrists, thumbs, toes, anything that could break or fracture, he probably did. Ferrari brought Sainz home in 4th place, with Leclerc having to do a DNF with potentially an engine issue there.
Fantastic.
And also, tyre deg really did kick in for Sainz.
Like Tony said.
Mercedes got both home. Looked better than they did through the weekend in the race. Still got a lot of work to do, though, I think. Alpine had an absolute mare with Ocon, which obviously we're going to talk about. How that can't be a talking point in this, I don't know. Basically, you know, they was getting penalties thrown at them quicker than Bill Cosby threw, you know, puddings at most of his victims. I'm really sorry. Penalties all over for Ocon, but Gasly started 20th and actually drove so well he did get into the points by the end of the race. Alfa Romeo got points with Bottas, and Zhou Guanyu obviously got the fastest lap. Williams got points with both drivers. Yeah, that wouldn't have happened last year. Haas,
Only with Albon. They only got points with Albon, not both drivers.
Albon.
Yeah, still got points.
Albon got 9.
They got with both drivers, didn't they?
Eh?
I think Sargent got 11.
Yeah, Sargent got 11. You said both.
So just out. Apologies.
Yeah, that's all right.
Haas absolutely bombed it. Absolutely, yeah. That was it. There's no other way of putting it. Looked great in quali and then just turned to absolute shite. And McLaren.
Yeah.
Exactly. nothing on them. There's no pace. One of them didn't even finish.
Didn't even start, did he?
Jesus. Yeah, and Lando, I think he had
came
about 5 pit stops.
6 in total. It was good.
Was it 6?
Yeah, 6 in total. I think they retired the car on the last one. But yeah, 6 through the pits 6 times in a race.
Hydraulic.
Yeah, but,
pneumatics.
Yeah.
Obviously, the overall result, as Tony will be happy to keep going on about, probably will be that Max won it by almost a lap. If he hadn't had to slow down, he probably would have been a lap. Followed by Perez, followed by Alonso.
So,
yeah.
Wow.
What do you think, guys?
Loved it. Loved every second. Piastri, I was cheering. I didn't fall asleep with this one because at every moment there was just joy, absolute joy. Piastri, he dropped out, loved it. What else happened? And then as the race went through, got a bit stale, and then Ferrari absolutely blessed us again with a reliability issue. Honestly, that was definitely the moment of the GP for me. Just Leclerc slowing, and he pulls to the side, and I was cheering so much, like unbelievable scenes. Unbelievable scenes. And then he's going to get memed to the absolute hell from Stud drinking this bottle of water next to his broken car. Just amazing. And Alonso.
Well, there's some cracking memes out there. I've seen like a video on TikTok. It's like all the memes from the Bahrain race, and there's some brilliant ones.
Alonso, what the car and him passing Lewis, Sainz, like absolutely. The pass on Lewis was amazing. Like
I was going to mention that, but I wasn't going to call it I wasn't just going to refer to it as the pass on Lewis. I was going to call it the fight, because
the battle. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a good scrap. Granted, it went on for a little bit, but it was just nice to see them two racing each other again.
Yeah. Alonso got past him, and then obviously nearly lost the car. And then because it obviously like panned really funny, like what happened there? And then Lewis got by, but Alonso had set that move up for like 2 laps on that corner. You could see he was positioning Lewis. Lewis was like, I'll go that way, and then to dart and overtake in the inside of that corner.
Beautiful.
Absolute class.
I got nervous with Alonso. I did. Because obviously he was setting himself up for that play on Lewis, and it worked an absolute treat. Even though Lewis did get it back, and then there was a bit of a to and fro between them, he got it. And that it's not just down to how good Alonso is, but I think it's also down to the fact that he knows how Lewis will drive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I got nervous. I really got nervous when he tried doing the same kind of thing with Sainz. Because I'm sat there, and I'm even saying to myself, I do this weird thing where I talk to the drivers as if it's me on the bloody radio to them, and I'm saying to them, like, just be careful, mate, this isn't bloody Lewis you're overtaking now.
Yeah.
Because you know for a fact, if you pull that trick, likelihood is Sainz is going to swerve.
And not see it.
By accident, and they're both taken out.
Mm.
Yep, exactly.
Don't get me wrong, I'd have loved it to have seen it and see Lewis just fly by, just like, but
no.
What made me laugh out the whole thing, going back to near the beginning, is when Stroll hit Alonso and they wouldn't tell him on the radio. Stroll, someone hit me. That's out of order. Yeah, we know, Fernando. Like, let's just get our heads on a race. Yeah, but has anything been done about that bloke hitting me? Like, what's going on? Look, Fernando, don't worry. Like, just tell him that, Stroll obviously couldn't steer the car. He lost it. And
that was one of the memes. That was one of the memes where it's like, oh, someone's hit me, that needs to be investigated. And his engineers are just like,
But it could have been for how cocky Mr. Rawson is this podcast, because he got Alonso third and now he's jumped on the bandwagon. That could have been all over in that first lap for him.
Yeah.
But Mark, how many times has it been all over? How unlucky have I been last season? How unlucky. I mean,
No,
Was
it's
it-
not. It's not. There's nothing unlucky about it. That's just you. You didn't
Look.
have to watch a race. You fell asleep, and you got your wife to do your predictions. That's
George,
not unlucky. That's
George
just you.
Russell, George Russell in the back of Perez, game over. George Russell in the back of Sainz, game over. Leclerc cutting the last corner of a race, lost a golden point there and another point. How many times has that happened to me?
I don't like this Tony. This Tony's been doing homework.
I know.
Yes,
I know.
Yeah.
I like Tony last year, where it was like, yeah, I didn't watch it, or yeah, I fell asleep, or it was best predictions. It was never Tony's.
It
or
was.
it was
well,
Beth was
like-
making the notes.
It's like the
How many
beginning
points
of a
has
new
Beth got?
school year, isn't it? Like he's showing off a bit now. He's got cocky. He can't keep this pace up all season. No chance.
Nah.
Right
But
start.
no, going back to Alonso, like I say, I mean, the Ferrari, it still chews its tyres. They've not got rid of that. But the fact that Fernando, like, to be fair, if there'd have been another 5 or 6 laps, I think Stroll would have probably got Lewis as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, but I thought Alonso was just, the pace he was going, there was all saying, no, he's going to use his tyres up. He's going to use his tyres up. And he just was relentless. Just absolute. But then, like you just said, James, Hamilton was on the back of Sainz, and I thought, here we go, 4th, we'll take that. And he just couldn't get that extra to get by him.
Yeah, and I couldn't get that because Sainz had even said, I won't be able to hold off. Because Sainz knew his tyres weren't great. But then, all of a sudden, it went from 0.5 of a second between him and Hamilton to 0.7 to a second to 1.2. And it's like, at first, when it went to 7 seconds, like, oh, he's harvesting, he's getting ready for it. And then it just kept going back further. And I was like, oh.
I think he finished about 2.5, 3 seconds behind him, didn't he? Like
something like that,
yeah.
I don't know. I was in dreamland just listening to Alonso going, this is a lovely car to drive. And
Oh, I know. I mean,
you was in dreamland last year.
that was cringy, though. That was cringy. Like
I said this. I said this, and here comes Horner's corner again, I suppose. While I was watching the race, and he's going, "Oh, it's a beautiful drive." I was like, "Fucking hell, mate, crawl out, will you?"
I know.
That was typical new employee in the workplace, crawling so far up his boss's ass. Every time his boss coughs, you can smell grill cream.
when halfway through the race, he went, "How's Lance doing?" Oh, get fuck off, because you've never cared about.
Oh, it's a great car, this boss. Oh yeah, cheers, boss. I really love you, boss.
Again, like Tony, Fernando Alonso is not going to last all season being Mr. Nice Guy.
I mean,
you've designed a fantastic car, boys. Shut up.
In a couple of weeks, when the car doesn't perform,
GP2 engine.
Shit car needs more power. Stroll, what's he doing? I can't believe. It's his fault. He hit me in round 1 and he's hit me again. Rah, 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 rah.
I do believe them comments may come back to bite him and me and everybody. Because it
was full on an in-betweeners moment, wasn't it? That all kind of F1 fans.
It's 18 or 19, granted, and it's been that good all season. Say that comment, because let's be honest, like I say, he's been pictured on a deck chair in the McLaren, GP2 engine for Honda. But race number 1, your first race for your new employee, and Daddy owns the team of your teammate. You've built a lovely car. What a car! Crawl the fuck out, mate, because that is just. You're better than that, Fernando. You are better than that comment.
Yeah, to use a rugby league reference right now, for everyone who doesn't watch rugby league, I apologise. You may not get this, so Google it. That was a full-on Joe Westerman moment.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
It was. Oh, yeah.
Down an alley behind Greg's.
Oh, God.
Full on. Oh, it's a beautiful drive, boss. Yeah. Oh, I love it. Oh, it's cracking. How's Lance? Is he all right?
Let's see in race number 3 and 4 if he's still as happy in that car. That just, mate, it was embarrassing. Like, I hope you
As
listen
happy
to
as
it.
Joe
Go,
Weston.
did I really say that? Like, cringe.
Yeah.
Ocon.
Right. Yeah, I was
Ocon.
about to say Ocon and his fines. So I've been trying to figure all of this out. So Ocon got a 5-second penalty for being in the incorrect position on the starting grid.
Yeah.
Now, he was pretty much on the markers, but they found out when they was looking at the cars from the front, everyone in his row was in a dead perfect line, and then he was about a couple of feet further in
Right.
towards the centre.
Was he not
So
looking?
that was his fight.
Don't think
You're
he was.
sorry?
He wasn't looking, was he? He rolled just past it or something.
I think he was within the markers, but he was too far towards the centre of the lane. He wasn't in line with the cars. He was further in.
Right.
Well,
So he got a 5-second penalty for that.
Yeah.
And then
Obviously, he went into the pits, wanted to get his nose changed as well. Now, when you watch the video, the mechanics get really close to the car with the equipment that they need, and then they freeze because they're all trained how to do it, and that's what they're meant to do.
Mhm.
And they did it really well. But then one of the mechanics got in there literally a fraction of a second too early. And when I say a fraction of a second, I mean 4/10.
Oh God.
0.4 seconds too soon he touched that car. So he goes out and then the FIA goes, excuse me, I've been watching that and that was 0.4 seconds too fast. I'm going to give you a 10-second penalty for that. So he's then sitting there going, oh shit, I got a 10-second penalty. Then, to rub salt in, they then turn on and go, I've been watching again. You were speeding. So when he went in to serve his 5-second penalty, yes, he was speed. Do you know how much he was speeding by?
No.
0.1 kilometers per hour over the limit.
Oh my God.
Fractions.
But how? Because they have a pit limiter. So was it that
I
he
have
didn't turn it on?
absolutely no idea.
I bet he can't have turned it on quick enough at the line, so that 0.1, whatever you've just said, was probably a millimeter over that line, and that's how.
Probably, yeah.
Wow.
Something as finicky as that resulted in 20 seconds of penalties.
Oh dear.
But yeah,
what a race to forget for Ocon. And like you say, Gasly, shit qualifying, started at the back, just went along his merry little way, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Better.
Absolutely stormed that.
Ocon.
Better. Do better. Do better.
Absolutely stormed it. Lando, what? 6 pit stops.
Yep. Pneumatic issue. They had to keep pumping up the system.
The villains of F1. Go fuck.
I can't wait till Tony gets a little bit older and he writes, Drive to Survive the musical or something.
The villains of F1. Wow.
It'll be on my team.
They're going to have another season like a few years ago where they're at the back. But again, what we just said about Merc and Aston Martin, they have a Mercedes engine. How can you get it so wrong?
Because you care
Well,
about...
look at you taking your smug little surf of you.
Oh, no.
More about getting the young drivers in the car, with all the potential, for the look of this new era McLaren, and it's not going well.
Are you, James? I know you are, Tony. Are you caught up on Drive to Survive, James?
No.
Okay. Out of the episodes you've seen, how many have Zach Brown been in?
Not many, actually.
Right, okay, I won't say much then. There's other. I want you to tell me what your thoughts are on Zach Brown when you've watched the Drive to Survive. because I can tell by Tony's smug face, he's probably going to feel exactly the same as I do about him. But watch the series. There's an episode about Oscar Piastri and Zach Brown and what happened with Alpine.
Or Alpine. So I'm saying.
I'm interested to see what because I think he's a bit incompetent. But I want you to, once you've watched it, just let us know your thoughts.
I suddenly feel really. It was only last night. I'm sitting there because we'd been out over the weekend, and we're sitting down and like, shit, I still haven't watched all the drives, and that's really bad. We've normally binged it before the first race has even started.
Even Tony's watched it.
I've watched it.
Even Tony's watched it, James.
Well, no, what's worse, mate, is Tony's watched it, fallen asleep through most of the episodes, and watched them again just to make sure he'd watched them. And I'm still probably only about halfway through.
Analysed it, broke it down.
Oh, yeah, and probably gambled on a fart and lost as well while watching it.
What a phrase. Love it.
But no, what other points have we got? Yeah, Ocon with all the penalties being thrown at him. Mercedes. Yeah, Russell's turned around and said, "Oh, it's a complete wake-up call. We've got to reset."
Why is this so? Why is it
one race?
So?
Yeah, and he should be used to driving a shit car. He drove that Williams for God knows how many years. Maybe it's his fault. Maybe Tony's right. Maybe it's the George Russell look.
You mean he's a negative Nancy? He's just gone in there and just negged out everybody.
Yeah, and they've built an absolute dog.
Well, I'll tell you what did make me laugh. Have you seen the new F1 intro that introduces all the drivers?
I think I know what you're going to say here.
And
George with his kind of like leaning on the walls.
George Russell's there, giving the big like MJ.
No, Ian.
Yeah. So someone put a post up on the social saying, and it was him doing that just on the green screen, and then it was like, "Do your worst." And there's like loads of people that have photoshopped it.
Oh, I've seen loads. I've seen absolutely loads.
Mate, get them out. Get them on the socials later.
Yeah, I want to see.
Yeah, there's loads of them. I think there's a couple where he's like stood between two wrestlers or something, just holding them apart or something stupid like that.
Do you think that since the Drive to Survive fame, some of them, i.e. the George Russells and Landos, are becoming a bit too, again, cringy for their own good?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I need to see. Yeah, you'll have to send me this. I need to see it because what are you doing, George Russell? What are you doing?
I think
there's some absolute class ones.
The world we live in now, I think, with social media, they're almost like a superstar before they've even drove an F1 car.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Yeah. They've already made it. They don't need to win a race. They've already made it.
Yeah. Really. As in, seasons gone by. Oh, it's a rookie driver. Let's see how they do.
Can you imagine that though? In a couple of years, F1 is just a bunch of influencers. They don't even get into a car. They just go live on TikTok going, "Hi, thank you for following me. Give me a like and subscribe. Join my Patreon. I love you guys. Big hearts." And whoever gets the most likes in that hour and a half or something's won the race. I think shit.
Tony literally is thinking to himself, I could be a Formula 1 driver if that happens.
Got to weigh in, guys. I've got to weigh in. Got to weigh in. Wow.
Yeah.
And any influencers that actually listen to this podcast, I'm not even sorry.
No. Our generation, we don't do what's all this shit. Yeah.
Hang your heads in shame and stop listening to us.
Yeah.
Actually, no, please listen to us. You may be the only listeners we have. But no, any other points from the race, guys?
No.
Okay, right. Let's.
I mean, I made a few points.
Go on, Matt.
Mark said Sargent wouldn't outscore the other rookies.
Was wrong.
He did. He did.
One race. Yeah.
I was going to say it's first race.
Lance Stroll, quote, will not drive. Will not drive. He did drive.
Yeah.
He did drive.
Yeah,
I mean,
think I said
there's something
that.
you did get right. I hope Tony Rawson is right. And I was right. So
What? He'd actually listened and wrote notes from last week's pod. What?
Oh, yeah.
He really has.
Adam, is this you? Adam. It's got to be. It can't be Tony.
He's not here. He's not here.
Adam, if you're listening, mate, just smack him for us.
Or if you're tied up,
In
send
fact,
us a
Beth,
signal or something.
you're probably nearby. You might be in the kitchen, but you'll probably be able to hear me through there, through the power and technology of audio nowadays. If you could just walk in and we just see your hand suddenly slide in from that blurred background across the back of his head, we won't be upset.
I'm glad you're taking.
There we go.
I'm glad you're taking so much notice, Tony, of the things I've got wrong. I mean, by all means, keep it coming.
I mean, you were so pessimistic, but it's fine now. I've proved myself.
Yeah, but you know what you've done?
Let the season go on.
Just done.
Let the season go on.
You know what you have just done, right?
What?
You have got the most competitive and stubborn, and I'm stubborn, but Mark's worse than me. He is now probably going to listen to all of season 1 of this and make a note of every time you was wrong or late or anything else, and he's going to recap it in the next episode. In fact, there'll be a special episode just for Tony's errors.
It was
if
last
this is the
season.
door he wants to open, let him open it. Because
And you know exactly where he'll start. So he'll start with the podcast you did, where we're both in our dressing gowns and you had your suit on, and you had some really weird call with Ronald McDonald or whatever the hell it was. And he just
entertainment. That was a crazy podcast.
Yeah, really, just don't do shrooms next time before a podcast, and we're all good.
Don't put the bear, Tony. Do not put the bear. You do not want to see it. You do not want to see
the bear.
Me, Luke.
Mate, it's too late for that. He's walked in on the bear hibernating. He's dropped his pants and he's slapped the bear in his pants.
Yep, that's it. He's asking for it. I can't wait now for the rest of the season because I'm coming hard. I'm coming hard for him. Really hard.
Insert your jokes below.
Oh, jeez, I didn't. I got really, scared where that was going then. I was like, oh, we're going to get so many messages from Andy.
Just delete the audio for this, and we'll just like. For those that's listening, there's the thumbnail. There's the thumbnail right there.
Right, so predictions. Yeah, neither me or Mark really want to go through this. Tony will be quite happy to go through this. So, Mark, you went Max, Leclerc, and Sainz, and you got 3 points.
Yay!
I went Max, Lewis, and George, and got 3 points.
Yay!
Tony, who actually stayed awake during this race, got Max, Perez, and Alonso. So he got maximum points and the bonus point. So Tony is currently on the lead with 7 points, with me and Mark still sitting there in a comfortable second, because we're not last, Mark. We're both equal, so we're both second.
I have maximum points, guys. Maximum points.
The forfeit is, and they're the only points you're going to get this season, mate. I'm just going to say. Actually, I regret saying that already, because in about 6 episodes' time or something, he'll get a point and he'll refer to this mistake.
Oh, he will do, definitely, yeah.
I can take a buy if you want, guys. I'll just buy this one. If you're all right.
I've also got the beloved predictions here as well. So Beth, Leclerc, Max, and Lewis. So got nil points. Charlie had Max, Lewis, and Perez, so she has 3 points. And Katie had Lewis, Perez, and Leclerc, so got 2 points. Should we pick a forfeit for the girls, or do you think we should let the girls pick a forfeit for them?
I would let the girls
no.
pick their own forfeit.
I don't think they should get a forfeit, but I think if any of us lose to them, any one of them, our forfeit should be bigger.
What?
We're the experts.
At the end of the season?
Yeah.
I got Mark, you fucking idiot.
No.
I know. I've just realised.
One of them's the F1 guru.
What a disgrace.
She's gonna absolutely smash him. Mate, I've seen Charlie's predictions this week. She's going to get 7 points every week now, and she's going to stuff the 3 of us.
You just got thrown right under the bus, and I was thrown in with you.
But if any of us beat Charlie, we get a dad's G-Wagon. I mean, that's only fair.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, yeah. All right. Swag. Oh, yeah.
It's only fair.
Now you just poked the bear, mate. Listen to this now. Right then, dickhead. So, predictions for this week. Driver goes first, right? Is that how we still play it?
Yep.
Okie dokes. So, Tony, I'm sorry, mate. I have gone Max for the win.
This is for the Saudi Arabia Grand Prix.
This is for Saudi Arabia on the 17th and 19th. Last year, the top 3 was Verstappen, Leclerc, and Sainz.
Okay.
This year, I'm going Max. Sorry, Tony. Perez and Alonso. I know. I know. It took me a couple of minutes as well, because for a minute there, I was thinking maybe Alonso will get second and Perez will come third. But I thought, knowing that Red Bull slowed their cars down for a bit more entertainment, yeah.
I mean, Mark Wilkin quote, copies are never good as the original.
You sad, sad man.
Oh, no. Just let him have it.
You know what? At least he's listening to our podcasts and not somebody else's. I'll give him that.
That is true.
Straight to the air.
Mark, what you got?
So I've gone for Max first, Perez second, and Charles Leclerc third.
Okay. I thought you were going to go the same as me then.
Nah, one race wonder, Aston Martin. Can't wait to see his face. Anyway, yeah.
T-Dog. I wouldn't take too long, mate. We still need the girls' predictions as well.
Yeah, come on.
I'm going to go Max to win. I'm going to go Perez second.
Copying gets you nowhere, Tony. Just remember that. So now you can't have Leclerc or Alonso. Go on, go Russell.
I'm not. I'm going to go with Leclerc.
Wow. Right, okay.
Because whatever happens after this race, I'll still be 7 points ahead of Mark Wilkin.
You are one evil, twisted bitch.
Let him have it. Let him have. Honestly, he's just digging a bigger hole for himself. He really is digging. He's digging a bigger hole for himself. I just can't. Just let him go. Carry on. Let him carry on.
All right, girls' predictions. You want Charlie's?
Yep.
So Charlie has gone Max for the win. Alonso second. And Perez third.
Wow.
So she actually went for what I was first thinking.
Right.
And then kind of flipped it.
Yeah. Okay.
We go in the same order, so you got Katie's?
Yeah, so Lewis first. Perez second. And Russell third.
Yeah, well, she should get 2 points.
Yeah.
You what? She'll get fucking 7 now, but that.
Well, I hope so.
And Beth has gone for
What we got for Beth?
Max first, Leclerc second, Russell third.
Interesting, right? And they are drawn into a box on a piece of paper, which effectively means they are locked in.
Oh, done.
So, couple minutes, guys, before we wrap up. So, anything else you want to quickly cover, or
Have you got any other predictions for Jeddah?
no? But you clearly have. Go on.
I think there's going to be a crash, a few crashes actually, but I think the biggest will happen at the start, and I think it might wreck a lot of the guesses and predictions this week because it's a very quick track. It's a street track, and if we remind ourselves of last season, there was a few safety cars because they've got to get the cars off the track, so there was quite a lot of tyre play involved. It was a clean start last time. I don't think that's going to happen. I think there's going to be a big crash and there's going to be a bit of a mix-up. Second of all, and final guess, it was a very close finish last year. 0.5 seconds, Max and Leclerc. I don't think it'll be that this year.
You've really done your own work. I don't like you this year. I don't. Yeah.
And they've modified
I'm starting to like Nico Rosberg more than you.
Wow.
If you're not wearing a white suit in the next episode, mate, I'm going to be really upset now. I'm kidding, mate.
Let's not go down the suit route again. We've been there.
Damn it, James.
And on that bombshell of Tony actually becoming an F1 guru, ladies and gentlemen, that is it. So, as always, massive thanks to Andy, the crew at CookieCast, for still putting up with us after this long. As always, like, subscribe, find us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anything you can find us on, listen to us. Comment, let us know what we can do better for you. We're always looking at how we can make ourselves better and get this even further out there. But yeah, just share the love, guys. Absolutely share the love. As always, thanks to Mark, thanks to Tony, especially Tony for actually getting here eventually and actually eating his tea.
About that.
I put some effort in with his, his research. Like, fair play.
Yeah. You really have redeemed yourself with this episode, mate.
It was still 20 minutes late though, so let's not go too far.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Do better next time.
Excuse for being late, and I apologise. And I will not. I'll try and work on that.
Wow. You heard it here, and it's on a recorded thing as well, Tony. So that is as good as a contract.
Am I leading next week? No.
Yep.
Yeah, you are.
God help us all. 2 weeks' time, Tony's leading, and he'll probably be first still. Hopefully not, but hopefully he will. Let's see.
Yeah. But yeah, from that, me and Mark are now going to leave the WhatsApp group again, so we don't have to listen to Tony for 2 weeks. And
you won't notice.
Yep, and we'll see you all again soon.
Bye.
See you, lads. Take care.
So there we go. Another week gone. Another race gone. Another race to come. All the races, all the time, all here on CookieCast, straight to the apex. Big thank you to you for listening and or watching. Big thank you if you're already a subscriber. Big high five. If you're not, quick click of a button and you're there. Also, if you could like, share, subscribe. I did the subscribe already. Do all the things that make podcasting great. You can also check out the website, it's thecookiecast.com. Over there's social media links and an email button for you to get in touch with us. Tell Mark, James and Tony how much you love their podcast. They'd appreciate that. That's it for this one. Until next time, I'm going to say bye, and I'll see you then.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Cookie Cast.